there any Harry Kane curse deniers left out there? It's a fascinating thing, and it probably deserves its own video. But congratulations to Leverkusen on winning the Bundesliga, and so early too. It's an incredible run, and I think if they go on to be undefeated, I might have to make a video about their season. But I bring up the Kane curse because, well, first of all, it is a great trigger word, isn't it? Kane curse. Kane curse, right? But also, Bayern Munich are still in the Champions League when this video comes out. They're playing against Arsenal tomorrow, and the winner of that match will move on to the semi-final. And the Champions League semi-final is what we're talking about today. Say what you want, that is a segue. Do I just bring up the Harry Kane curse whenever I can? Admittedly, it was funnier when he wasn't playing with Alphonso Davies, the pride of Canada. And actually, you know what? That will be my question for the comments today. Who do you think is a bigger threat to England winning the Euros this summer? Harry Kane or Gareth Southgate? I think we all agree on the answer. But enough messing around. Bailey and Joe suggested in the comments that we talk about the 2009 Champions League semi-final between Chelsea and Barcelona, which was very controversial. And can't forget, if you're not subscribed to this channel, I make sporty ASMR videos, so please check out the channel, and if you like what you see, consider throwing a little subscribe our way. We're on the road to 25k, and we're getting so close. Okay, so 2009, the Champions League semi-finals are between Manchester United and Arsenal, and the matchup we'll be talking about today, Barcelona versus Chelsea. Both teams have some of their most legendary players at this time. Chelsea is fielding Peter Cech, Frank Lampard, Didier Drogba, and John Terry, I think, was the captain at the time. And Barca had on Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, Eto'o, Busquets. I could go on, Piqué. I mean, just a stacked team. The first leg of the semifinals is business as usual. It is played at Camp Nou in front of 95,000 people, and the referee is Wolfgang Stark of Germany. That game ends 0-0, so it's all to play for in the second leg. It's almost a clean slate. The only disadvantage that sort of comes out of this match for Chelsea is that in the case of a draw in the second leg, the winner is decided on away goals, of which Chelsea have none because they didn't score at Camp Nou. But that's like a detail because they have home field advantage for the second leg. This second leg we're talking about for Chelsea and Barcelona takes place May 6th, 2009, this time at Stamford Bridge, like I said, in front of 37,000 people. And the referee is none other than Henning Øvrebø. We'll call him Tom Henning from now on because I don't want it to sound like I'm making fun of Norway or Norwegian, but he is Norwegian. All that being said, going into the match, Barcelona were still ever so slightly favorites to win. The bookmakers had them at an implied win probability of just over 38%. I think it was an average of like 38.2%. And Chelsea just under 37%. I think the average was like literally 36.9% chance of winning. Don't forget, a draw is also a possibility, which is why those numbers don't add up. But yeah, very, very tight odds going in. Now, I'll try to cover, I can't believe I've been rambling for like almost 8 minutes already. I'll try to cover all the maybe more controversial moments of the game. The first one being pretty early on. Messi has got the ball in the 18-yard box and Ballack tries to clear it for Chelsea, but he kicks it into his own arm. Barcelona sort of call for a handball. Fair enough, his arm was like away from his body when he touched the ball. I'll include some photos of some key moments over this video, but they'll be blurry. They won't be the best quality, I'm sorry. But it's this weird situation where the handball wouldn't really help Chelsea in this case because the ball stays with Messi instead of being cleared. That being said, rules are rules, but no penalty is given. Now, in the 9th minute, this isn't a controversial moment, but it is very important to the story. Lampard takes a shot, maybe he's attempting to cross the ball in from about 18, maybe 17 yards, and Dani Alves blocks it. It bounces off his back and rebounds directly to Essien, who scores a 20-yard left-footed volley. It's a thing of beauty. I'll have it linked down in the description. Now, Now it becomes a spicy game, becomes a fiery game. It gets quite physical early on. Barcelona dominate possession, somewhere around 75 to 80% possession by the end of the game, but they cannot get a shot on target. Now a bit later into the game, 18th minute, Malouda for Chelsea. Coming up the left side, he tries to dribble the ball into the box, but Alves basically just stands on the line and kind of has an arm around him and stops him from moving forward. Tom Henning gives a free kick. So he acknowledges that there's a foul. The problem is that Malouda had both feet on the line, on the edge of the box when this happened. So if there is a foul and it's inside the box, Chelsea fans and Chelsea players may argue that that's a penalty. Now, this is all happening very quickly. There's no VAR. But to play the devil's advocate, let me show you again a blurry screenshot of Henning's vantage point. It seems like he's got a pretty good look at what's happening, but at the end of the day, like I said, you can still give Henning the benefit of the doubt here, I think, and nothing comes from the free kick. The next touchy moment is when Lampard passes the ball through to Drogba in the 26th minute. And in the 18-yard box, Abidal is chasing him down, gives his shirt a little tug, and appears to trip him up. Again, from a neutral's point of view. I'm not a neutral in football, but in the case of these two teams, I have no skin in the game. And in slow motion, it looks like Abidal is playing the ball. When he kicks out his leg, he's reaching for the ball, and then just the way he lands makes Drogba trip and fall. Now you could call for a penalty on the shirt pull, but that was pretty routinely ignored. And I'm not even sure Drogba was even onside. Obviously, it's hard to tell with the angles. But to be fair, I'm tempted to think when I look at it that he might have been offside in the first place. Regardless, that is the second time this game that Chelsea might argue that they were robbed of a penalty. And we go to halftime, catch our breath. When we come back, there's another tussle in the 56th minute, this time between Drogba and Yaya Touré. Again, Lampard, beautiful pass up to Drogba, who's being checked closely by Touré. They have a great little battle for the ball, like two world-class athletes giving us just the best of football. And it ends with Touré performing a sliding tackle just as they enter the box. And I'm sorry, Chelsea fans, but he gets 100% ball on that one. I don't see a penalty, but yeah, I think it's just peak football from both men. But at this point, Drogba is incensed because the calls are starting to add up. At the 66th minute, again, as a neutral, it seems like a very weird moment where Abidal is chasing down Anelka. There might be a little bit of contact, like Abidal's hand touches, grazes Anelka's arm. And then Anelka takes a couple of strides and falls. And from the footage that we do have, again, I'll give Anelka the benefit of the doubt and say he wasn't diving when he felt the slightest contact. But he does just clip his own leg. I tried my best to capture a shot of that exact moment where you see his foot catching on his calf. And he trips. So would I have called that a red? No, from what I've seen. But maybe Henning was looking for a reason to put Abidal away if he felt he missed a call in the first half. And so Abidal does get a red card. Barcelona is down to 10 men and down by 1 goal. In the 79th minute, Anelka has a good run at the goal. Touré is chasing him down, tugging at his shirt, and as they enter the box, Anelka falls to the ground. From the original broadcast angle, it does sort of look as though Touré pushes him to the ground, especially with the way his arm sort of swings like across as Anelka falls. And even in the replay and the other angles, you can see his hand sort of follows, like it sort of follows Anelka's back. So there was some movement there. But again, when they show the replay from different angles, it looks to me like there was nothing on Touré's part that causes Anelka to fall. I just think at the speed they're going, with Anelka sort of trying to shake off Touré, it's understandable that he would lose his balance. And again, this is 2009. Maybe in 2024, the shirt tugs would be enough to warrant a penalty, but I don't think that's the case in this game. But that is at least 3 times now that Chelsea think they should have been awarded a penalty. So of course, these things add up every time it gets a little bit worse from Chelsea's perspective, and it really starts to frustrate everyone. Now the 82nd minute is where it starts to get a little dodgy for me. So there's a goal kick for Chelsea. It's a long one. Malouda wins the header, and the ball lands at Anelka's feet. he sort of kicks it forward into the box and just hits Piqué's outstretched arm like a bullseye. Henning doesn't call it. But to me, that's a penalty every day of the week. Like, that, to me, is the real game changer in this match. Now, none of this should really be a problem if Chelsea keep their lead, right? Right. We go into extra time, added time, 4 minutes of injury time here. And in the 93rd minute, Messi passes the ball to Iniesta, who just scoops it right into the net from 19, 20 yards out. I mean, another great goal. He makes it look so casual. I'll have that one linked in the description as well. And for Barcelona fans, what a moment. I mean, by the way, this was Barcelona's only shot on target for the entire match at the 93rd minute, and it goes in. And now, remember at the top of the video, I told you that Chelsea needed to win outright because a draw would be decided on away goals, of which Barcelona now had one. So they have about 90 seconds left to score a goal, and the controversies are not over. See, Chelsea ends up getting a corner. Their keeper, check, he moves up. It's essentially the last chance of the match, one way or another. Lampard takes the corner. Ballack hits a volley towards the goal, and it hits Eto'o's armpit. Chelsea immediately appeals for a handball. Henning says no. And at that point, I mean, Ballack just loses it. He's like chasing down Henning and yelling at him. Surprisingly, that doesn't get him sent off, but I think Henning just wanted to get home at that point. And a few moments later, it is full time. Barcelona wins on away goals. Some players took it better than others. Lampard and Iniesta swapped shirts. But then you have guys like Drogba. He was losing his mind. He was like being held back by security guards trying to get to Henning. He started yelling, "It's a fucking disgrace," at the camera, which was broadcasting live. So we all got to experience it. Just absolutely mad scenes to end the match. Now, in the post-game analysis on Sky Sports, so obviously maybe a little bit biased towards the English team, but the 4 commentators unanimously agreed that of the 4 possible penalties that Chelsea tried to appeal during the match, 3 of them should have been awarded, including the shirt pulling by Abidal on Drogba, the handball by Piqué, which is the one I agree with most, and the extra time handball by Eto'o. That one I didn't get into it, but I think you could argue that, like, if his arm was completely down, it would have hit the back of his shoulder anyway. But like I said at the beginning, rules are rules. So there is an argument there. I can totally see it. Henning had to be escorted out of England by police because they were concerned for his safety. And Drogba was suspended for 3 matches. Barcelona would go on to win the Champions League final against Manchester United. It is also worth mentioning that Henning admitted in 2018 that he had made those mistakes. And, to this day, people still bring up, some people, a specific set of people, will bring up the theory that Henning was paid off and that he fixed the game. I don't think that's the case at all. I don't think that red card would ever have been called on Barcelona if he was trying to fix the match. Like, to me, that red card was a bad call. So if he was making bad calls on purpose, that would have been against the wrong team. So I just think he wasn't up to the task. I remember reading that some commentator had said, after the first bad call that he made, he just sort of lost his mind and kept making bad calls. But to that point, as it turns out, this is not the only controversy that he's been involved in, that Tom Henning Øvrebø, I'll just call him Øvrebø, has been involved in. At the 2008 Euros, so before this Champions League match, he refereed the Italy-Romania match, and the first goal that Italy scored, Henning disallowed for offside, and then he later admitted that that decision was a mistake. At the 2010 Champions League, so the year after the Barcelona-Chelsea game, in a round of 16 match between Bayern Munich and Fiorentina, he allowed a goal sort of in the final minutes that was clearly offside. Like, the managers of both teams agreed that it was an error. Now, Bayern still accepted the result and moved on to the next round. And in the group stages of qualification for the 2010 World Cup, he refereed the Greece-Latvia match, and he awarded a highly disputed penalty to Greece while they were trailing by 1 goal, and they ended up winning the match. I think he was shortlisted for a job at that World Cup, but he didn't make the cup. He didn't get the job. I think that same year, 2010, he retired from, or he removed himself from refereeing from FIFA, went to referee in the Norwegian League just for a few years, 2 or 3 years, and then retired altogether. But guys, I've rambled on long enough. That was my retelling of the Barcelona-Chelsea Champions League semi-final in 2009. What a ride. What a time. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'll see you in the next video.